The legal disclaimer ensures transparency about recipe sources and viewer responsibility. Rampa Udang, also known across Malaysia and Singapore as Pulut Panggang, Rampa Udang, or Pulut Rempah Udang, is one of the most treasured and labor-intensive snacks in the entire Peranakan culinary canon. The name itself is evocative. Pulut means glutinous rice, Rempah refers to the spice paste that forms the soul of any Nyonya kitchen, and Udang is the Malay word for prawn. Together, they describe a banana leaf wrapped dumpling of coconut-steamed glutinous rice enveloping a deeply savory, slow-fried filling of fresh prawns, ground spices, and toasted grated coconut, a small parcel that carries the full weight of Peranakan culinary history in every bite. The dish is an exercise in patience and layered technique. The glutinous rice is steamed not once but twice, first plain with pandan leaves, then a second time after being folded into freshly extracted coconut milk, which permeates every grain with a rich, custardy sweetness. The prawn filling, meanwhile, is built from a rempah of shallots, garlic, candlenuts, lesser galangal seeds, lesser galangal, and roasted coriander seeds, fried patiently in oil until the aromatics deepen and the kitchen fills with an unmistakable perfume. The prawns are diced, not blended, so that each bite of filling retains a satisfying bite of seafood texture. Toasted grated coconut, known in Nyonya cooking as kerisik when pounded, is folded in at the end, adding a nutty, almost fudge-like density that binds the filling together. Camellia Chia, the Singapore-born Melbourne-based Peranakan cookbook author, wet market to table, growing up in a Nyonya kitchen, describes Rempah Udang as an endangered Peranakan dumpling that you can now only find in old-school kueh shops like Galicier Pastry in Singapore's Jo Chiat Enclave. She notes that traditional versions sometimes marble the rice with blue pea flour, a technique that proliferated in Jo Chiat's Peranakan households and gives the rice a striking indigo streak. The filling in her version incorporates dried shrimp, candied wintermelon, and gula melaka for a sweeter, more complex profile reflecting the sweet-savory duality that defines much of Nyonya kueh. Once assembled, each roll is wrapped snugly in a scalded banana leaf, the ends pressed and secured with staples or toothpicks, and then pan-seared on a hot, dry pan until the banana leaf chars and releases its own fragrance into the rice. This final charring step is what distinguishes Pulut Panggang from merely steamed versions. The lightly burnt leaf imparts a smoky, earthy note that elevates the dish from simple kueh to something genuinely memorable. The contrast between the smoky, slightly crispy exterior and the soft, coconut-rich rice within, with its hidden core of spiced prawn filling, is what makes Rempah Udang one of the most beloved and enduring creations of the Nyonya kitchen. Prawn filling. Fresh prawns, 1/2 cup, shelled and diced. Grated fresh coconut, 3/4 of a whole coconut. Lesser galangal, 1 piece. Shallots, 5, peeled. Garlic, 1 clove, peeled. Candlenuts, 3. Peppercorns, 6. Coriander seeds, 1 tablespoon, roasted. Cooking oil, 2 tablespoons. Salt, 1 teaspoon divided, 1/2 teaspoon for filling, 1/2 teaspoon for rice. Sugar, 1/2 teaspoon. Glutinous rice, 300 g, soaked for 4 hours. Pandan leaves, 2, shredded lengthwise and tied into a knot. Coconut milk, 1/4 cup, extracted from remaining grated coconut. Wrapping. Banana leaves, 12 pieces, cut into 15 cm squares. Here are the written ingredient list. Preparation steps. Step 1. Toast and grind the coconut. Take half of the 3/4 grated coconut and place it in a dry pan over medium-low heat. Fry, stirring constantly, until the coconut turns an even deep golden brown. This takes about 8–10 minutes. Do not rush this step or use high heat, as the coconut will burn on the outside before it dries through. Once evenly browned, remove from the pan and allow it to cool, then grind in a blender or pound in a mortar until fine. This toasted coconut acts as both a flavoring and a binder in the prawn filling, adding a rich, nutty depth that raw coconut cannot provide. Cross-reference note: Camellia Chia uses desiccated coconut toasted dry in a pan for a similar effect, while Bake with Paws pounds freshly grated coconut into kerisik dust, a cornerstone ingredient in Nyonya cooking. Both confirm that the toasting process is what releases the coconut's natural oils and concentrates its flavor. Step 2. Roast the coriander seeds. Place the 1 tablespoon of coriander seeds in a dry pan over medium heat. Dry roast for 2–3 minutes, shaking the pan frequently until the seeds become fragrant and slightly darker in color. Remove from the pan immediately to prevent burning. Roasting coriander seeds intensifies their citrusy, warm aroma and makes them easier to grind into a fine powder. Set aside to cool. Step 3. Grind the spice paste. Using a mortar and pestle or a blender, grind together the 1 piece of lesser galangal, 5 peeled shallots, 1 clove of garlic, 3 candlenuts, 6 peppercorns, and the roasted coriander seeds. Pound or blend until the mixture forms a fine, smooth paste. Lesser galangal L is a key aromatic in Nyonya cooking. It has a more delicate, peppery ginger flavor than regular galangal and is essential for the authentic taste of this rempah. If a mortar and pestle is used, the paste will have a more textured, rustic quality. A blender will produce a smoother result. Add a small splash of water if using a blender to help the blades move. Cross-reference note, Pamilya Chia's version of the Rempah includes lemongrass, turmeric root, and dried red chilies in addition to shallots, garlic, and candlenuts, producing a redder, more pungent paste. Lee Suk Ching's original recipe keeps the spice paste simpler and lets the prawns and toasted coconut carry the flavor. Both approaches are authentic. The difference reflects the regional and household variation typical of Peranakan cooking. Step 4. Shell and dice the prawns. Shell the fresh prawns, removing the heads, legs, and shells. Devein each prawn by making a shallow slit along the back and pulling out the dark intestinal vein. Rinse briefly under cold water and pat dry. Dice the prawns into small, roughly 5 mm pieces, small enough to distribute evenly through the filling, but large enough to retain a satisfying bite. Set aside. Measure out 1/2 cup of diced prawns. Step 5. Extract the coconut milk for the rice. Take the remaining half of the grated coconut and place it in a bowl. Add about 1/4 cup of warm water and knead the coconut firmly with your hands for 2-3 minutes, squeezing and massaging to release the coconut milk. Strain through a fine sieve or muslin cloth, pressing hard to extract as much liquid as possible. You should yield approximately 1/4 cup of thick, creamy coconut milk. Set aside for steaming the rice. If fresh grated coconut is unavailable, substitute with 1/4 cup of canned coconut cream. Step 6. Soak and drain the glutinous rice. Soak 300 g of glutinous rice in water for at least 4 hours or overnight for the best texture. The long soak allows the grains to absorb water evenly, which ensures the rice steams to a soft, slightly chewy consistency rather than remaining hard at the center. After soaking, drain the rice thoroughly in a colander and set aside. Take the 2 pandan leaves, shred them lengthwise into thin strips, and tie them into a knot. This releases their fragrance during steaming and makes them easy to remove afterwards. Step 7. Scald the banana leaves. Bring a large pot of water to a rolling boil. Briefly dip each 15 cm banana leaf square into the boiling water for 5-10 seconds, just until the leaf softens and becomes pliable. Remove immediately, rinse briefly under cold water, and pat dry with a clean cloth. Scalding serves 2 purposes. It sterilizes the leaf surface that will contact the food, and it makes the leaf flexible enough to fold and wrap without cracking or splitting along the veins. Set the softened leaves aside on a clean surface. Cross-reference note, Bake with Paws and Pamilya Chia both recommend passing banana leaves over an open flame or dipping them in hot water to soften them. Pamilya Chia blanches the squares directly in the steaming water for 5 seconds, which is both efficient and practical. Cooking steps. Step 8. Fry the prawn filling. Heat 2 tablespoons of cooking oil in a wok or large frying pan over medium heat. When the oil shimmers, add the ground spice paste in from step 3. Fry patiently for 3-4 minutes, stirring constantly. Until the paste darkens slightly in color and the raw aromatics are fully cooked, you will know it is ready when the kitchen is filled with a deep, spicy fragrance and the oil begins to separate from the paste. Add the diced prawns, 1/2 teaspoon of the salt, and the 1/2 teaspoon sugar. Continue frying until the prawns are fully cooked and have turned pink and opaque throughout, about 2-3 minutes. Finally, fold in the ground toasted coconut from step 1 and mix thoroughly. Taste and adjust seasoning if necessary. The filling should be dry and crumbly, not wet. If there is excess liquid, continue cooking until it evaporates. Remove from the heat and set aside to cool completely. Cross-reference note, Pamilya Chia emphasizes that the filling should be moist but not overly wet, and should taste umami-rich and sweet. Her version adds coconut cream, chopped candied winter melon, and gula melaka for a sweeter profile. Kawali's version includes dried prawns and kerisik in the filling for additional umami depth. Lee Suk Ching's simpler version relies on fresh prawns and toasted coconut, which lets the prawn flavor shine more clearly. Step 9. Steam the glutinous rice. Place the drained glutinous rice in a steaming tray or heat-proof dish. Add the remaining 1/2 teaspoon salt and the knotted pandan leaves. Steam over rapidly boiling water for 15 minutes. At this stage, the rice is partially cooked. The grains will have turned translucent at the edges, but still appear slightly opaque and firm at the center. This 2-stage steaming method is essential. Steaming the rice plain first allows the grains to set their structure, so that when the coconut milk is added in the second stage, each grain absorbs the coconut flavor evenly without collapsing into mush. Step 10. Steam the glutinous rice, second stage with coconut milk. After the rice has steamed for 15 minutes, remove the steaming tray from the steamer. Pour the 1/4 cup of extracted coconut milk over the rice and mix gently but thoroughly with a pair of chopsticks or a fork, ensuring every grain is coated. Return the tray to the steamer and continue steaming for another 10 minutes until the rice is fully cooked, glossy, and tender. The grains should be soft and slightly chewy, not mushy. Remove from the steamer and discard the pandan leaves. Allow the rice to cool slightly until it is comfortable to handle with bare hands. As cross-reference note, Pamilya Chia combines the coconut cream, water, and salt, and mixes them into the rice after the first 10 minutes of steaming, then steams for another 10 minutes. Bake with Paws steams the rice with coconut milk from the start. Both methods produce good results, but Lee Suk Ching's 2-stage approach, steaming plain first, Then adding coconut milk yields the most even texture as the rice grains absorb the coconut fat more uniformly once they have already begun to soften. Step 11. Assemble the rolls. Divide the cooked glutinous rice and the cooled prawn filling into 12 equal portions each. Take one softened banana leaf square and place it shiny side down, matte side up on a clean work surface. Spread one portion of glutinous rice lengthwise in the center of the leaf, forming a rectangle roughly 8 cm long and 3 cm wide. Place one portion of prawn filling along the center of the rice. Using the banana leaf as a guide, fold the rice over the filling from both sides, shaping it into a neat roll approximately 5 cm long and 5 cm long, wide. The filling should be completely enclosed within the rice, like the filling of a sushi roll. Wrap the banana leaf firmly around the rice roll, folding it like a Swiss roll. Press the ends together firmly and secure with a staple or toothpicks if you prefer not to use staples. Trim away any excess banana leaf with scissors. Repeat with the remaining rice, filling, and banana leaves until all 12 rolls are assembled. Cross-reference note. Pamelia Chia describes the wrapping technique in detail. Lift the side of the banana leaf closest to you and use it to help you envelop the filling completely in rice. Like making sushi with a tatami mat, firmly form the rice into the shape of a log. She secures the ends with toothpicks. Kawali uses bamboo picks. Lee Suk Ching's original recipe uses staples, which are faster and hold firmly during pan frying. Step 12. Pan grill the rolls. Heat a large dry frying pan over medium-high heat. Do not add any oil. Place the wrapped rolls in the pan and cook until the banana leaves brown and char slightly on all sides, turning every 1-2 minutes to ensure even browning. This takes about 6-8 minutes total. The charring of the banana leaf is what gives Pulut Panggang its name and its signature smoky aroma. As the leaf burns slightly, its essential oils are released and penetrate the rice within. The rolls are ready when the banana leaves are evenly browned with patches of dark char, and the rice feels firm and hot to the touch. Cross-reference note. Both Bake with Paws and Pamelia Chia confirm that the final grilling or pan-frying step is what distinguishes Pulut Panggang from steamed versions. Bake with Paws notes that some parts of the rice will become toasted and crispy after grilling, and that part is just delicious. Pamelia Chia chars the dumplings on both sides in a dry pan or over charcoal. Step 13. Serve frost. Remove the rolls from the pan and allow them to rest for 1-2 minutes. Serve hot, still wrapped in their banana leaves. Each diner peels open the charred leaf at the table, releasing a burst of smoky, coconut-scented steam. The rice within should be glossy and tender, with a lightly crisped exterior where it met the hot pan, and the hidden prawn filling at the center should be savory, nutty, and deeply spiced. Rampa Udang is traditionally served as a tea-time snack or as the closing course of a Peranakan meal. In Malaysian and Singaporean kueh shops, it is displayed alongside other banana leaf-wrapped kueh such as pulut inti and kueh kochi. It pairs beautifully with a strong cup of Malaysian teh tarik or a chilled glass of iced lemongrass tea. The rolls can also be served as part of a larger spread of Nyonya kueh for festive occasions. Notes and tips. Lesser galangal. This is the aromatic that gives the prawn filling its distinctive Nyonya character. Lesser galangal, DI, also known as sand ginger, has a peppery, earthy aroma quite different from regular galangal. If you cannot find it, a small piece of regular galangal with a pinch of white pepper is an acceptable substitute. Fresh coconut versus toot. Desiccated coconut. The original recipe calls for 3/4 of a freshly grated coconut, which provides both the toasted coconut for the filling and the coconut milk for the rice. If fresh grated coconut is unavailable, substitute 3/4 cup of desiccated coconut for the toasted portion and 1/4 cup of canned coconut cream for the coconut milk. The flavor will be slightly less rich, but the technique remains the same. Blue pea flour variation. For a striking visual presentation, Pamelia Chia soaks a portion of the glutinous rice in blue pea flour water before steaming. When the blue and white rice are combined, the finished rolls have a marbled indigo appearance that is traditionally associated with the Jew Chiat Peranakan community. To try this, soak 2 g of dried blue pea flours in 280 g of hot water, cool, and soak 80 g of the glutinous rice in the blue liquid overnight, keeping it separate from the remaining white rice. Make ahead and storage. The prawn filling can be made up to 2 days in advance and stored in an airtight container in the refrigerator. Assembled, ungrilled rolls can be frozen for up to 1 month, defrost overnight in the refrigerator before pan grilling. Already grilled rolls can be refrigerated for up to 3 days and reheated in a dry pan or microwave. For the best texture and flavor, however, Rempah Udang should be eaten fresh off the pan. Securing the wraps. Staples are the fastest and most reliable method for securing the banana leaf wraps during pan grilling, as used in Lee Suk Ching's original recipe. If you prefer to avoid staples, toothpicks or bamboo picks work well, just remember to remove them before eating. Soak wooden picks in water for 10 minutes before use to prevent them from charring during grilling. Dried shrimp addition. While the original Lee Suk Ching recipe uses only fresh prawns, both Kawali and Pamelia Chia incorporate soaked and ground dried shrimp into the filling for additional umami depth. To try this variation, add 2 tablespoons of dried shrimp, soaked in warm water for 10 minutes, drained, and ground to a floss, to the filling, along with the fresh prawns in step 8.